Well, what about the present? Maybe the historical record has been clarified because it's historical. People have had a chance to go through the documentary record. But isn't the present complicated? It's happening as it unfolds, as it were, before our eyes. And often when you read the newspapers, we are told it's very complicated. Occasionally I have the stomach, if I can use that vulgarity, to look at the New York Times and this thing named Isabel Kirshner. She's their correspondent. And Miss Kirshner is always in a state of perplexity and confusion. She never knows what's happening. So the last time Israel invaded Gaza, she says the Israelis say the majority of fatalities were militants, and the Palestinians say they were civilians. And then the proverbial hands are thrown in the air. Who knows who's telling the truth? But in fact, it's not so difficult to know who's telling the truth. All you have to do is do what's done in every other conflict. Namely, what do reporters, journalists do? They go to the local human rights organization, which has a track record of honesty and a track record of integrity, and you ask them. So the very day that Ms. Kirshner was throwing her hands in despair, who knows who's telling the truth, B'Tselem, the Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the Occupied Territories, issues a press release saying we went through each of the casualties, and our conclusion, the majority were civilians. Now, it's a very interesting question with this matter of the human rights record, because on its surface, as the lawyers like to say, prima facie, you would expect there to be a lot of controversy. Why? Number one, human rights law is a relatively new body of international law. And that means a lot of the terms and concepts have not been really fleshed out and defined. One, for example, everyone in this room has heard, namely the term human shield. But what a human shield actually means is not entirely clear. Because, for example, let's say a city is under attack, and the defending country puts artillery next to civilian buildings because they have no alternative. It's, after all, a concentrated civilian area, a city. If it puts an piece of artillery next to a civilian area, is it using it as a human shield or not? It's a very tough call, and you'll see different human rights organizations reaching different conclusions about the same situation.